Okay, functional notation. So you might see these fancy things in math. This is called f of x. That's how I say it in words. And x is considered the input of the function. Okay, so f is just a name. I can give a function any name I want. Usually you see f of x, sometimes you see g of x, h of x, whatever. Okay, those are some of the common ones. But whatever's in brackets is considered the input into the function. F of x, as we would know it, often just replaces the y. So the coordinate would look like this: input, output. Do you understand math equations are all about input, output? You input, you plug in, it equals something, that's the output. Okay, here we go. F of 2. So this tells me to input 2 into the f function. Put a 2 into that function. So what do you get? 2 plus 3. So if I input a 2, I get a 5 out. If I input a 2 into the function that's called the f function, I would get out a 5. F of 2. Plug a 2 into this function. Instead of plugging in an x, your x is now going to turn into a 2. Okay, g of 6. It means I'm going to input a 6 into the g function. So it will go 6 squared minus 4. I'm inputting the 6 into the g function. So 36 minus 4 equals 32. Okay, then we get a little bit fancier. G of f of 1. Okay, so we need to do this first. F of 1. Okay, so you're going to go to the f function. Everybody's looking at your f function. I need you to plug a 1 into this. So if you plug a 1 in, you're going to get 1 plus 3 equals 4. Now, that's done. 4. I'm now going to do, well, what is the g at 4? So plug a 4 into the g function. So 4 squared minus 4 equals 'Okay, I reversed the direction this time. F of g of 1. This almost looks the same, but it's going to be a completely different answer because this time I have to do g of 1 first. So we're going to go to the g function, put a 1 in. 1 squared minus 4 equals, so if you put a 1 into the g, you get a negative 3. now what is the f of this value, which is now -3? So plug the -3 into the f function. Okay, ready? I'm going to write these out. Maybe it'll be easier for you if you just rewrite them here. I just copied them, that's all I did. Okay, what does the f of g of x mean? The g of x is our input, and what are we putting it into? We're putting it into the f function. So this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to take this input and I'm going to plug it in to the input of this function. You only are replacing the x. So you take the input and you plug it in to replace the x. So there's my input replaced. So do you see it? I replaced this, went into there. I dropped it into that box. Okay, and then this is just simplifying. There's a couple things I can put together there. Okay, g of f of x, so these are looking the same, but they're not. This time, f of x is the input.
On the test, are we going to have to memorize this? Or do we get a sheet?
This would be memorized stuff. There's no formulas or anything like that.
Is it always going to be that equation, x plus 2?
No.
You'll give us an equation and we just...
Yeah, I have another example and it'll just be different down here. Yep, we'll do another. So this means I'm inputting the f function into the g function. So I'm going to take this f function and I'm going to put it in to the x box. I'm going to replace this x with that function. Does that kind of make sense? You see the f of x, the whole thing is going to go in to this one. So it will look like this. X plus 3 squared minus 4. Okay.
Can we write it as x squared plus 9?
I'm going to get to that. Okay, I'm going to ask you to simplify this on the test, so you have to go further. I'm going to get you to square this. When you square it, the answer is not x squared plus 9. Squaring this is not x squared plus 9. And why? Does anybody know why?
Don't you just
Distribute the brackets. So x plus 3 squared looks like that, which means I have to do what with two binomials? FOIL. Yeah. Okay. This mistake happens all the time. I get people who square x and square 3. You can't do that. It's not individuals. X plus 3 is a unit, so you have to square the units, and once you do that, it's a FOIL. So x squared first. 3x out. 3x is the in, plus 9 is the last. I can't forget there was still just a minus 4 on the end of this all. Okay, this mistake, I usually catch half the people making that mistake, so remember that. Don't square it individually, square it as a unit. Binomial units make FOILs. So the final answer should be x squared plus 6x plus 5. Okay, one more example of that. Did you get all your FOIL parts? Good? Okay, this is example 2, so now I gave you different equations here. So here's your f of x, here's your g of x. Okay, f of 9. Put a 9 into this function. Put a 9 into this function. So 3 times 9. 3x. 3 times 9. So that answer would be 27. Okay, the next one says, what is the g of 4? So plug a 4 into the g function. So it would look like this, the square root of 4 plus 5. So there's my plug-in, my input. Square root of 9. So that has an answer of 3. Okay, here we go. F of g of 11. So we have to do g of 11 first. Okay, so 11 needs to go inside the g function. Are you getting a 4 out of that? Once you plug that in?
Yes.
Yeah? Everyone's good? They got a 4 out of that output? So now we're done that. So what is the f of 4? So plug a 4 into the f function now. Okay, a couple more. G of f of 2. So we need to do f of 2 first there. Okay, so f of 2 is 3 times 2 then, which is 6. Now we're going to have to go, what is the g of 6? So the g of 6, I'm going to put a 6 into the input here. Equals the square root of 11. And you know what I'm going to do? Leave it. I don't want a decimal. I'm just going to leave it. Okay. Now, which way are we plugging it in? I would like you to circle which one is your input. Which one is called your input here? This is your input function. Whatever's in the brackets is you're inputting this into. This is always your input part. So the g of x is the input, and I'm going to put it into that box. So it's going to look like this. That's it. Can't do anything with that. You can't simplify that. Input it into that box. You can't do anything with it. Last question. Which one is your input? F of x is your input, and it says you're inputting into the g function. So I'm going to replace that, make the replacement, so it's going to look like this. I guess I didn't give any examples like this, but I could also do something like this. Okay. Do you know what to do if I did this? F of 5. Look at this. The f of 5. Would you know what to do? You would do this. What is the f of 5? It's 2. And then what is the f of 2? -1. You just plug it in, and then you plug it in again. It's just that you use the same function instead of switching between an f and a g. But it's just the same thing, but you just go back to the f function, go back to the f function. So what if I did this to you? What is the f of x? No, you can just watch, but whatever. So if I do the f of x into the f of x, I would replace that. So I would get x minus 3 replaced minus 3 x minus 6. Okay, so I might re-plug into the same function, but you're doing the exact same thing as we were doing, if you see that.